There are two types of pollination. Self-pollination, where pollen grain is transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or a different flower on the same plant. The second is cross-pollination, where pollen grain is transferred to the stigma of a flower on another plant. Do take note, both are considered sexual reproduction, as it involves two gametes and fusion to form a zygote. The advantage of cross-pollination is that offspring will be more genetically diverse, leading to a higher chance of survival when there are environmental changes. Offspring might inherit favourable traits from both parents and lower the probability that harmful recessive alleles will be expressed in their offspring. Seeds produced are generally able to survive longer before germination. For the disadvantage, it is that it requires two different plants and depends on external factors for pollination. This means the rate of pollination of some flowers will be affected if the population of bees drops. More energy and pollen are wasted as the rate of success of pollination is lower compared to self-pollination. Self-pollination has the advantage of requiring only one parent and wasting less pollen and energy. Beneficial traits of parents are also most likely to pass on. Self-pollination is also not dependent on external factors and has a higher chance of occurring due to the proximity of stigmas and anthers. However, the probability of harmful traits being expressed is higher, and lower genetic variation means it is more susceptible to extinction when there are environmental changes. Despite having so many advantages, the risk of lower genetic diversity is just too great, and being able to avoid self-fertilization is a trait that has been selected. There are a few traits that plants have to prevent self-pollination. Simple traits, such as a longer stigma than anther, would have helped, or just having the anther and stigma maturing at different times. Anther and stigma growing on different flowers will further prevent self-pollination altogether. After pollination, the pollen grain will begin the process of fertilization. The pollen grain will germinate in response to fluid from the mature stigma. Enzymes secreted will help to digest surrounding tissue as the pollen tube grows out from the pollen grain towards the ovule. The pollen tube will enter the ovule through the micropyle, and as the tip of the pollen tube absorbs the sap, it bursts, releasing the male gametes. The nucleus of one of the male gametes fuses with the egg or the ovum to form a zygote. So, what will the future development of the zygote be? After fertilization, the ovary develops into the fruit, while the ovule develops into the seed. The ovum, which the nucleus of the pollen grain has just fertilized, becomes the zygote in the seed and will develop into an embryo which can grow into a new plant.